My name is Owen Nangombe, and I was born at the banks of Kavango River, which is in Rundu, 15 kilo out of Rundu at Mazana. And I grew up as a playboy, and I was very good at drawing. But that time I used to use my finger drawing on the ground, until when I grew up is when I went to enroll myself at Coastal Arts and Crafts Center, Swakopmund, and then from there is when I came to the College of the Art, and I specialized in landscape painting and like portrait drawings. So mostly when I'm doing my paintings, since I'm from Rundu, so I always used to include Kavango River in my paintings. And the message that I used to give to public is that we as Kavango, we usually used to depend on the river for survival, because there's fish there, and even our mom, they used to spend most of their income getting it from the river. So mostly that's what I used to portray in my artwork. Yes, because we do depend. We know the river is very risky at some point because there's crocodiles, hippos, but we used to force ourselves to make a living. And what I'm trying to give to the public is that the way Kavango people used to make their way of living through the river. Alright, let me start when I was young. I remember that was when I was in grade 4, that was 22. I was having two of my classmates. They were very good at drawings. So mostly them, they used to draw like what they watch in the movie, like karate, kung fu and stuff. And then those are the people that inspired me when I was young. So, but it's very bad to mention that there are no more artists these days because they left their career, but me, I still keeping my career. And then after my high school, just like I mentioned it earlier, is when now I went to the Swakopmund, and then from there I came to the College of the Art. And the person that also inspired me, like as I am now an artist, is I can mention, but there are a lot, yes. If I look at the landscape for Paul Kido, yeah, so those kind of landscape, because he used to portray about his South, the way of the South people used to make their living, and me, I used to portray the way Kavango people used to make their living. So I like Paul Kido's artworks and landscape, every brushes, I used to enjoy that, and I think he's one of the person that inspired me a lot. Yeah, so let me say, from the beginning of this year, I used to have nice tenders, mostly at supermarkets, whereby people, they can call you to go and paint something or do the sign writings. But since February this year, when the COVID-19 hit our country, so we really struggled, especially I've been struggling because I usually used to make my living through art, and I used to do my paintings and then sell to people, or people can hire me to go paint at their workshops or whatever if they're having events. But as COVID-19, it really affected me in a very bad way, because even if you can approach people, they'll tell you just excuses, they don't have money, they're not operating and stuff. And as an artist who really struggling to make a living in art, so it's really a great thing to deal with. So it wasn't easy, still not easy yet. Yeah, we don't know when COVID-19 is going to end. Maybe we'll try to recover. Mostly I'm an oil painter, but for now this time I'm working with acrylic on the picture which I'm the one which I'm busy with for the What's Your Story. Mostly I'm an oil painter, and oil painter I used to work it on wooden pallets. I used to collect them either at the companies, just natural the way it is, even those spaces in between. Then I just put my landscape, whatever picture that I come up with, but mostly, like I mentioned it earlier, it must have a river, because the river means life to me. And so for the picture which I'm busy right now, I'm using acrylic on canvas. So I'm still busy with the picture, and that picture I'm going to portray the source of Kavango people, their transport, how they used to cross the river, they usually used the canoes. So, but now during this COVID-19, all those canoes were being locked up, and no one was traveling up and down to cross the river. So that's what I'm going to portray in my landscape one that I'm going to